Powering system.
Greetings, the internet. This is AJ, and I'm doing stuff a little bit differently now. If you want a little update, you can go to this video right here, and I explain what's going on in my life, etc. But anyway, this is going to be a one-off on some easy tips on doing a health bar, and then maybe some a little bit more advanced techniques to get our game looking kind of cool. So yeah, so right now what I have going for me is just this simple layout with the character. He jumps, and then there's a HUD layer which these two buttons are on, and we'll use these buttons later. If you don't know how to get this far, follow my platforming series. The first video will be here, and watch up to, I think video 5 gets you to about right here. So anyway, let's get started. So the easiest way to do a health bar, obviously, maybe not obviously, is that we're going to insert a new object, and we're going to actually use a tiled background. And we want to resize this to 16 by 16, and then we're just going to fill it with a red color. Oops. Do that. Boom. It's going to make it really big. Let's change the size to 16,16, and we're going to put this up here in the corner. Now, this doesn't do anything, but I want to point out that this is actually on the wrong layer. It's on the main layer, so if you ever have this problem, make sure you have the HUD selected, or you can click your player. It says layer over here under common, and just change it to HUD. And now you can see that it follows along with the character, but it obviously doesn't do anything. So to get like some action actually happening, you want to click on it, and we're going to add an instance variable. And first we're going to call it max width, and we'll make it a number, and for these purposes it'll be 128, but it doesn't really matter. Now it's not going to change it in our event sheet, but if you play it you'll see that, oh, actually no, we haven't said anything yet. Anyway, it's not going to show anything in our event sheet just yet, our layout. So let's go to our event sheet, and this I just have, I was testing something, ignore that. This is just the code for what I have going for me. If you don't feel like watching all the videos, you can just kind of screenshot this real quick, but I'm going to move on from that right now. So what I want to do is add an event, and we're going to go to System, on Start of Layout, and we want to add an action, and we're going to go to Tiled Background, and we're going to set width to self.maxWidth. Now self is obviously just referencing itself, so any variables that tiled background 2 has, it will inherit. So you could also do tiled background 2.maxWidth, that works as well. But self is just a little bit more, I don't know, faster or something. So yes, so this is going to still be a problem, as you'll see right now. I'm going to start the project, and it does straighten it out. Oh, well, I already have it set to the top. Oh yeah, okay, so ignore that. But basically, our health bar switches to a 128 long bar, which is what we want. Now, I thought what was going to happen is this hot spot was going to be in the center, which means that this would happen, where as you see it's being drawn from here, so it goes off the screen. So I actually want left. It's default at top left apparently, but I want it to be left in the middle, and that will become apparent why in a little while. Okay, so we have a health bar, and we have it on our HUD, but it doesn't actually do anything. So we're going to go to our event sheet, and I'm not going to be organizing my code in this tutorial, by the way. I just want it all be visible. So, but remember, organizing is super important, and you should always do it. So what I want to do is add an event, and we're going to go to System Every Tick, and we want to set our tiled background. And I'm going to rename it actually before we do this. Let's just call this Easy HUD, Easy HUD bar, Easy bar. Okay. So we're going to set our easy bar, and we're going to set our width to our easy bar dot max width. So it's taking our max width, it's dividing it by our current health, which we don't actually have yet. So let's go and do that real quick. Oh no, I do have it. Okay. So we want, I'm going to delete these so you can see me make them, even though that's kind of irrelevant. So I'm going to add a new variable, and I'm going to call it max health. Yeah, and let's make it 200. And then let's add another variable called cur health for current health. and let's make that 200 as well. So it's going to start off the game with your current health as your max health. And we could do that in code as well if you want to be a little bit more nitpicky about it, but we won't do that for this. So back to this, easy bar. We're going to set our width, and we're going to set it to our easy bar dot max width. Oops, max width. And we're going to divide it by our player dot max health. So it's going to chop it up into pieces that fit our max health, and then we want to multiply that by our player dot current health. And if you don't know the math, I mean, I'm not much of a mathematician. I just know that this works. So study it, read a physics book or something, and maybe you'll figure it out. Maybe math probably would be more appropriate. So we're going to press done, and as you can see, if we go and press play, our bar shows up. Now these buttons right here subtract an amount of health. So if we subtract 10, oh weird. So these got deleted for some reason. So I'm going to do this. So I guess we'll learn this real quick. If you want to take health from your player, you can do it by hitting things or whatever. But I just have these two boxes right here that we can click on, so we can subtract health really fast and make it easy. So how to do that is on this one, you can see left button clicked on our -10. I want to go to our player, and I'm going to subtract from his max health, and I'm going to make it 10. Or sorry, not his max health, his current health. That's important. Max health should stay constant. So we're going to change our current health. We're going to subtract 10 from it, and then we can just copy this and paste it here and change this to 50. Okay, now things should work in theory. So it's going to set our bar to 128 pixels wide divided by 200, and then every time I subtract some health it goes down a little bit, as you can see. So I can subtract 10, and if I subtract 50 it does more, but as you'll see it starts doing that, which we don't want. So we can go to our event sheet, and we'll just go we'll just put it here under every tick, or maybe actually different ways to do this. Let's do this. Let's make a sub event under this, and we're gonna make it we're gonna go to our player, and we're gonna compare instance variable if our current health is less than or equal to 0, and if it gets hidden like that, just make sure you open it there. We're going to add an action, and we're going to go to player, set value, our current health to 0. So it'll subtract 10, and then it'll say, okay, is it less than 0? We'll just set it to 0 then, and then that way our bar won't continue on. So we can copy this and paste it under here. Now there's a ton of ways to do what I'm doing right now. This is probably not the best way. We could do it under every tick, but I like this because it activates when you actually do anything, so it's not constantly checking to see if our health is less than 0, although it's probably negligible. But anyway, so now you can see we're going to start subtracting health, and it stops at 0 and completely disappears. Okay, so to make this a little prettier, we can do a couple things. So I already have some things set up here, and I'm going to just apply them to our tutorial over here. So there's something just to make it a little bit better is on start of layout, we can go to easy bar, and we'll want to spawn another object. Oh, sorry, we can't do that. We'll have to go to system, create object, and we're going to create a box 2, or it doesn't, let's go with, it doesn't matter. So this is just another sprite, or just another object that we're going to be using as our sprite. We're going to be using as the background to our current sprite. So we want to put our layer on main, or sorry, on HUD, and we want to put our X to our easy bar dot X and our easy bar dot Y. We're going to go to box 2, and we're going to set position, or sorry, set move to object. Man, we're going to set it behind our easy bar. So yeah, as you'll see, now when we subtract, it subtracts from our bar and it leaves a little bar there so we can see what's left. Cool. A little more fancy. We can do a couple things. We can insert a new object, and I'll introduce you to the 9 patch really quick. So the 9 patch is pretty cool. I'm going to resize this to, let's make it 18 by 18 because we want it to be a little bit bigger than our health bar. And zoom in real close, and then I'm just going to draw an outline around this box. Now, I bet you're wondering, AJ, why isn't the thing a rectangle, not a box? Fear not, for I have figured out how to solve this. So what a 9 patch is it actually separates our sprite up into pieces like this. And yeah, so what it actually is doing is it's going to tile the stuff happening in here and here and here, and then it's going to leave our corners safe. So I will show you right now. So we actually have to do a couple things real quick. Let's make the left margin, all the margins at 2, and we're going to make the edges tile and the fill transparent. Cool. So now you can see, if we zoom in real close, that we have a sizable bar, and then this is really useful for a number of other things too, so it's probably just good to know. So we're going to set, since we know that the size is 16 by 128, we're going to change this to our size to be 18 by 128. Or am I doing this backwards? I was. 128, 18. And we're going to set our Z order, and we're going to send it to the top of the layer. Sorry. Oh yeah, because it's not on the HUD layer. So we're going to put this on the HUD to make sure it's there. It sets to the top, and in theory this should look really nice. There we go. It's a little bit not quite long enough, but you guys can spend some time tweaking that in your own time, but I think you kind of can understand what's going on here for that. So what if we want to get a little more cool? So let's get rid of this stuff for now, and I have made some objects preset. So let's say you want to have a health bar that has a little thing at the end, but you want it to follow along with the head of your health bar. Well, I will show you how to do that right now. So let's take this over here, and we're going to take this over here. So you don't have to perfectly place this with your hand. It'll, as I'll show you in a second. A couple things that are important: make sure the hotspot is on the left again, not top left or bottom left, very center in the left, which is just left. That way our sprite over here can interact with our object. So how you do this, and these are both on the HUD layer just to make sure. Okay, so let's go into our event sheet, and we can hide this for now. So on start of layout, I'm going to get rid of this stuff for now. If you guys want to use that, then you could stop the video right here. So on start of layout, we're going to go to, actually first, make sure that you click on whatever you want your head to be, and zoom in, and make sure that your origin point is quick assign to the left as well, so it's in the center in the middle, exactly how it is right here. So on start of layout, we're going to set our box head, and we're going to set position, and we're going to make our X, which is left and right, to box dot BB box right, B box right, excuse me. That stands for bounding box, so it's going to put it all the right up against the edge of the right of the thing. So we also want to set this to our box just dot y, because we already know the y is staying constant. So the only thing that's changing is its x. So it'll do that. So if you can see, as you see, even though they're not connected right here, if we press play, it's going to connect them right there. So that's pretty easy. So we also want to do every tick. We want to set that to that as well. It's exactly the same. And then it's not going to work out exactly how I want it to. So you see it's somewhere like in here because we set this afterwards. So make sure that you set the box width first, and then every tick we'll leave over here. So let's see, what do we need to do? Every tick we just need to set our HUD box. We're going to set our width, to our player A dot max health, sorry, 200, which is what our max width is right now, divided by our max health times our player dot current health. So I'm doing this shoddy right now. Follow the directions that I did before. I'm just trying to get this as fast as possible. So I think this should work. Did I do everything right? I believe I did. So now if you press play and you subtract health, it subtracts and adds a little thing at the top. Now, actually, you probably want to set our width first because it's giving that little frame. So it's going to set the width and then it's going to set the box. So we'll see here when we subtract, it's a little cleaner. You don't actually see the box moving over to the frame. Cool. So there's a little bit more advanced, and obviously this is for kind of making your health bar look something really cool and having something awesome at the end, not just a triangle, a boring triangle. Alright, so now I want to show you guys a HUD that floats over your character's head and stays in position and still works. So I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to use some of the stuff I already have made. So I'm going to use box 2. I'm going to bring that in here, and just regular box. So box 2 is going to be our background. We can change the color so it looks like something better, I guess. And let's change the color of this to red for health. Okay, cool. So let's actually size this by hand. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this as quickly as possible, but you guys should probably set up some variables or do this in code or something else, but I'm just going to do it by hand. So I want it to be 8 by 64, and I always mix it up. How do I do that? 64 by 8, and we're going to put that right here, and then we're going to change this one to 64 by 8 as well. 64 comma 8 is how you do that. And again, we can just leave them apart and they'll mash together in a second. So make sure both of these are on the main layer and not on the HUD layer because we want it to interact with our player. So that's how we get started there. So before we do anything, let's set these two bars up the way we want them to. So our background bar is 64 by 8. I want to make sure that his hotspot is in the very center so that that center point is matched up with our player, so he's like directly over his head. And then we want our box, the health bar, to be the left again, like we had. Okay, so that should work out pretty nicely. But that doesn't do anything until we actually tell it to. So we're going to go to Start of Layout, and we want to go to our HUD and use box, and we're going to set his position. And we're going to set the position to our X to be box 2 dot BB box left. So that's going to butt it up against the side of the box. And then we want to set the Y to be the box 2 dot Y. So I believe that should match it up in theory. There we go. But it doesn't follow our player still. So pretty easy to do that. Let's go every tick. We're going to add an action, and let's go to our HUD. Let's go to this box, and we want to go to box 2. So we want the background box to be the one that's following our player, and our red box to be following this box. So we can set this position, and let's just set his position, his X to player A dot X, so that it's right in the center, and then we can do this player A dot Y minus like 20, maybe 32, so that it kind of puts it above his head. And then we also want to go to our start of layout. We want this box set position to also be happening here. And we want to set our position after we set the box 2 position so that it doesn't create any weird tearing or anything like that. So this should work. Yes. All right, and then all we have to do to make it work is just go to our event sheet, and we want to every tick set our width to, and let's change this number from 200 to 64. Again, you should be doing box dot max width or whatever, but I'm just going to be doing this quick and dirty with just using numbers. So never do this unless you do. And I think that should solve all of our problems. So it follows him, and then if we take damage, it takes damage, and it follows him around. Cool. So I'm going to do one last little thing to make it a little bit more cool, so you can kind of see what's going on. So let's do that right now. Okay, so construct crashed, but it's fine, because it'll be nice to do everything from scratch real quick. So yeah, the last thing I wanted to show you is making something a little bit more interesting looking on our HUD using the tools that we had just acquired. So I've already made all these pieces. Obviously you can make your pieces however you want, but we're going to be doing kind of the same thing that we did before, but just with some actual sprites. So I'm going to resize these to 30 by 30, or this to 30 by 30, and this to 30 by 30 too, I guess. It's kind of stretched out. Maybe if I... Alright. So we're going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to do this by hand real quick, just because, you know, I want to get this through with this as fast as possible. So as you can see right away, it's above the player, or the HUD. So I want to move to Z order to the bottom of the layer, so it puts it there. And we can kind of just leave that there for now. You know, in fact, I think I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Let's try 28 by 28 and 28 by 28 as well. Close it up a little bit. Okay, so it's going to be literally the exact same thing as we did before. So let's see. I'm going to actually move this back a little bit because of reasons. I'll move this forward. And stretch this out to about here. Let's see. Let's make it 120 by 28 right there. And then if this goes against it, it should be underneath. Cool. So let's send this to the bottom of the layer as well. So we have a nice setup there. Let's go to our event sheet, and we can do every tick. All we have to do is set our head. So this is just like the head that we used before. And we want to set position. We want to set our X position to cool box dot B box right. Again, it'll butt it up against the side. And Y, we want it to be cool box dot Y. And just so you know, our cool box, it has the hotspot on the top left. We want it in the center, or sorry, we want it on the left. And I don't know why this doesn't move things anymore for some reason. I messed up a hotkey somewhere. So it actually doesn't really matter where we put that as long as it's there. Okay, so we want that to be there, and then all we want to do is if, sorry, system, nope, HUD, coolbox, set width to, let's see, what was it, 120 divided by our player dot max health. What is it? Health max times player a dot cur health. God, cur. Nope. Health. Oh, some things got changed because it broke. Anyway, should be fine. And other than that, let's see, this does stuff. Sorry, a lot of this stuff just got deleted on accident. It's okay though, because I got everything else done first. So in theory, this should work, I think. See, it's on the HUD. And if we subtract, there we go. Now see that glitch right there? That is actually because we are, let's get rid of this, we are setting the position and then setting the width, so then the next frame it actually moves it. So if we just do this in reverse order, so we set the width and then we set it to the position, it will render that frame. And it looked like it was a little bit too forward. So let's move it back just a hair. And a little bit too much, but as you can see, it works just the way you want it to. The low resolution is just because I want this to run fast because it's on my virtual machine. But yeah, that's pretty much it about HUDs. There's obviously much more that we can do, but I just wanted to get health bars out of the way so that you kind of could see the potential of making a good-looking HUD in Construct 2. Cool, guys. Well, I have a Patreon now, so if you go to my Patreon and donate a couple dollars, you can get some cool stuff, I think. There's going to be a link in the description. If you don't want to give me any money, that's fine. I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe in that case. So I hope to see you all later, and I'll be running a poll soon on what my next tutorial should be. So yeah, stay updated, and I'll see you later. Good luck.